There are many Disney shows that help shape a lot of our childhoods, and while some stars have gone on to live their lives in the spotlight, that isn't the case for all of them. From stars who never really left, to stars who decided to live their lives in different ways. On today's top 10 list, I'll be covering 10 more Disney actors that disappeared. Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Sabrina Bryan. You guys, in part 1 of this video, I talked about the Cheetah Girls and how absolutely iconic it is, so it's time we talk about another one of the movie's best-known characters that has disappeared from our screens. Sabrina Bryan played the amazing dancer Dorinda in the movie. She was in all 3 of the movies, but we truly haven't seen much of her since. So, where has she been? Well, she has certainly had a few TV and movie roles since, and has even dabbled in voice acting, but nothing ever huge there. She was on Dancing with the Stars twice, most recently in 2012 when she got brought back for an All-Stars season since she absolutely smashed it. I mean, she was the first contestant to ever get a perfect score from the judges. In 2017, she ended up being engaged, and we saw her on an episode of Say Yes to the Dress as she prepared for her Las Vegas wedding. In late 2020, she welcomed her first child, a daughter named Camilla Monroe. In our number 9 spot today, we have Kimberly J. Brown. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. Is it really Halloween time without the Disney staple Halloween Town? Those movies would have been nothing without Marnie, aka Kimberly J. Brown. I am not ready to talk about how they replaced Kimberly with Sarah Paxton in the 4th movie, like that wasn't committing a crime, but what I am ready and here to talk about today is where the heck did Kimberly go? After her role as Marnie, we truly haven't seen a ton of her since. She has definitely done a few TV and movie spots here and there, but nothing too huge or crazy. She went to university where she got a Bachelor of Science in Business, and she now runs her own Etsy shop called Craftily Creative that sells a variety of things, but also some Halloween Town themed items as well. In a crazy turn of events, she is also dating another Halloween Town legend, Daniel Counts, who played Cal in the 2nd film. He is now a realtor, if you were wondering. It is good to know they are both doing well and thriving. In our number 8 spot today, we have Jennifer Stone. When we think of Wizards of Waverly Place, we normally think of Selena Gomez, but Wizards wouldn't have been what it was without lovable, quirky Harper Finkel, who was played by the amazing Jennifer Stone. While Selena went on to be a huge superstar, as we all know, that life truly isn't for everyone, which left us wondering where Jennifer went and what she's been up to. It seems as though Jennifer decided to take a step back from the spotlight for a while and turn her focus somewhere else. She ended up becoming a nurse, which is incredible. Obviously, an extremely selfless career that is so necessary. In 2021, she still continues to work as a nurse, but she has also returned to the acting world as well. In our number 7 spot today, we have Christy Romano. What is a show about a wild and crazy boy without him having a strict and level-headed older sister? Christy Romano played Ren in Even Stevens and was the older sibling to Shia LaBeouf's insane character of Lewis. She was also the voice of Kim Possible, so it's safe to say she was working on some pretty iconic Disney shows for a while, but since the ending of these shows, we haven't seen her on our screens as much. Well, after these shows ended, she unfortunately endured some struggles with both her mental health and with alcohol as well, but in an amazing turn of events, she was able to get the help that she needed. She ended up attending Barnard College, where she met the man who is now her husband, and the pair now have 2 absolutely beautiful daughters. In our number 6 spot today, we have Will Friedle. There aren't even words to describe how great of a show Boy Meets World was. It truly is a show that encapsulates my childhood, and it would not have been what it was without Will and his amazing portrayal of Eric Matthews, who was Corey's insane older brother. Since the ending of the show, he kind of seemed to disappear from our view, but what I didn't know is how successful his career in voice work has been. He has been working pretty consistently in that industry since the ending of the show, and he even voiced Ron Stoppable in Kim Possible, which I had no idea about until now. Will was actually called out last year in 2020 by a fellow former Boy Meets World castmate, Trina McGee, who played Angela on the show. She detailed some racially insensitive comments that Will had made to her while they were co-stars, while she explained just her overall experience of working on the show. It was upsetting to know that a show I loved so much was having these kinds of dark things going on behind the scenes, but it is amazing that even after all of these years, Trina has been able to speak up about it and open the dialogue between herself and her former castmates. Nothing will ever undo what she experienced, but I hope telling her story and having these conversations has brought her some peace, and I think it's pretty exceptional that she is so compassionate that she has found a way to forgive her former castmates, and she uses her experience as a moment to teach rather than a moment to shame. I guess that one kind of turned into what happened to Trina McGee, but I mean, we had to talk about it. I couldn't talk about Will and not bring up Trina for being a real one, and we found out where Will was. He's just voice acting. He was on an episode of Girl Meets World, so he's good, you know? He's good. We had to talk about it. In our number 5 spot today, we have Brandon Baker. Brandon Baker is from a Disney movie that truly feels like some sort of a fever dream to me. Brandon was the awesome surfer in the 1999 movie Johnny Tsunami, and that sort of kicked off his Disney career for a while. He was in the Johnny Tsunami sequel, as well as appearing in Even Stevens and Camp Confidential. While he seemingly had a thriving Disney career for a while in the early 2000s, he just kind of disappeared. Well, as it turns out, this was actually intentional. Acting at any age is a pretty all-consuming job, but being a child star is certainly not an easy ask. Brandon decided to leave the spotlight on his own accord in order to really be able to live his life. He said, "I took a brief life-examining sabbatical to kind of explore, travel, and just figure out what really drives me. I worked a lot behind the camera on short films and was still working on sets, among other things, but just taking a break from acting to see just whether or not I missed it, and also just to give myself a chance to mature and grow up and approach it as an adult. Not everyone is able to take a step back and realize that the hard choice is sometimes the best choice for your own happiness, so it is very good to hear that Brandon was able to live his life and choose to return to acting when it felt right for him." In our number 4 spot today, we have Mitchel Musso. Mitchel Musso is best known for his role of Oliver Oaken, who is the goofy male best friend of Hannah Montana. Since the show and his character were incredibly successful, he actually got the opportunity to have his own show called Pair of Kings on Disney XD. He was also in the midst of starting another show called Prank Stars when he ran into some trouble. In 2011, he was pulled over and actually arrested for driving under the influence. Because of his clean criminal history, he was able to be released on bail and definitely took responsibility for his actions, but unfortunately, this move cost him both of the shows that he was working on. Since then, we truly haven't seen as much of him on our screens. He tried pursuing a music career briefly, but that didn't necessarily pan out in the best way. Most recently, however, he worked as a voice actor on the Phineas and Ferb movie that was released on Disney Plus last year. In our number 3 spot today, we have Adam Lamberg. Okay, if you watched Lizzie McGuire as a kid, we know Hilary Duff was obviously the star of the show, but true Lizzie fans know that Gordo was the one who stole the show. I mean, just think about him in the Lizzie movie, you guys. Adam Lamberg was the one who played the truly iconic role of Gordo, and he had all of us shipping him with Lizzie, even though we never really got a chance to see that entirely. After the series ended though, I feel like I just never saw him again. As it turns out, he actually decided to quit acting. He worked on 2 smaller films before deciding to focus on his education rather than starring in movies. He ended up studying geography at UC Berkeley and then went on to receive his Master of Public Administration. Since then, he worked as a developmental associate at the Irish Arts Center in New York, and while he was going to reprise his role in the Lizzie reboot for Disney Plus, as you may know, that was sadly cancelled. I'm not sure what he has been up to since then, but I really hope we get to see him sometime again soon. In our number 2 spot today, we have Jake Thomas. How could I possibly mention Lizzie McGuire again without mentioning Lizzie's annoying little brother Matt, who was played by Jake Thomas. He was so perfect at being annoying and conniving and honestly just a bit of an evil genius. After Lizzie ended, he actually ended up on another Disney show called Cory in the House, but after that one ended as well, we really haven't seen him on our screens very much. He was in an episode of Criminal Minds and has since had a few roles on other shows that are similar, but nothing quite as large as his Disney days. While he continues his acting career, he also dabbles in directing, and he is also a photographer. It's good to know that he continues to live an artistic life in a multitude of different ways. In our number 1 spot today, we have Matthew Timmons. When I think of The Sweet Life on Deck, I, of course, like many of you, think of the stars Cole and Dylan Sprouse, but we truly cannot forget the incredible incredibly goofy character of Woody Fink, who was played by Matthew Timmons. I don't remember seeing him before The Sweet Life, and I really don't remember seeing him after, except for that one episode of Jessie, which left me wondering where he went and what he's been up to. Well, while I don't really know what he's been up to career-wise, he is very present on social media and continues to make fans laugh. It's good to know that while he sure has grown up from his days of The Sweet Life, he has managed to keep his goofiness and silliness alive and well. Disney definitely isn't the place for him anymore, but maybe one day we'll see him return to our screens where he can most definitely keep us laughing. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!